Hey guys, what is going on? Vitaly Dubin is here, founder of Bitcoin's Walls Club, where we are helping people become Bitcoin millionaires. And today I want to discuss with you the current price action of Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going to pump to $10,000 in the short period? And the altcoin market is looking pretty darn good. With it pumping over the last 7 days and the last couple of days, we are seeing some good movements on some major coins and also some smaller coins as well. And I want to share with you also how this guy, Peter Schiff, is absolutely ridiculously wrong with his predictions about Bitcoin, and is doing totally opposite of what he is actually saying. And I want to share with you what the original, one of the original inventors of Bitcoin 11 years ago, over 11 years ago, actually said about Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going to succeed in this current world to be adopted, which has actually happened, and Bitcoin is succeeding and is gaining more and more momentum each year, where it can actually go. Can it go to as high as $1 million or even more? We're going to discuss that today. And also, I want to share with you a little bit about the margin trading and the realities of margin trading, and why Japan is actually limiting the margin trading that is happening within the country of Japan, and maybe other countries will follow suit with that. So let's get it started, guys. I want to share my screen. Okay, so looking at the market, as you can see, Bitcoin over the last 7 days, over the last week, has gained close to 10%. All of the major coins are pretty much in the green over the last 7 days, with Ethereum 5.77%, Ripple 8.75%. Bitcoin Cash has pumped 18%. That's probably due to what's going on with Craig Wright. If this case of his, which we're also going to discuss briefly here, of owning a million Bitcoin, if he owns a million Bitcoin, then he owns also a lot of Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV, which is also pumped pretty heavily this week by 43%. So that's quite amazing. And you can see the pattern. So the altcoin markets has been booming. Chainlink is up 22%. This is actually one of the coins that Tika Tiwari was talking about in his 5 coin to 5 million. And it's pretty good. Congratulations for those who got Chainlink. It's awesome. So looking at the coins like Dash, you can see this type of pattern. A lot of green right now. Of course, it's on a background of having a lot of red over 2019. You can see the trajectory, but finally we're starting to see some pushback from the bulls, and Bitcoin is on the rise. And it's not only Dash; it's happening with a lot of other altcoins that we're seeing quite significant rises. Trajectories, over the trend is getting to the other side. So kind of taking note of that and look at a Bitcoin. Let's discuss Bitcoin for a little bit, what we are seeing right now in the chart. So monthly we are on the rise, and you can see on a monthly level, if I get a zoom a little bit closer here, how much we can rise or fall within a month, right? So we have those 5 months, which we have risen quite significantly from dollar value by $1,000 here. In the months of May, we have risen about $3,000, and here we have risen $2,500. So looking at those monthly candles, you can see November and December, we had about a swing from 9,000 at the beginning of the month, 9,200 to 7,600. So that's about a $1,600 move. And last month we had a much smaller move. And this month we are moving to the right direction. We're still not out of this falling wedge. Okay, we have not broken out yet, but it looks like we are on the way to do so. We are close to do so. And if next week we are going to continue with this momentum that we are gaining right now for the bulls, Yes, we had a little bit of a rejection here, but that's okay. We're continuing the rise today, and I think we are getting closer to this break of this descending channel. And once we are going to break that, which we need to see clearly here, getting back to 9,000, I think it's not a long way, and then we go to $10,000 soon. And overall, I believe this year, 2020, will be a huge year. We can see the hash rate is getting a nice upper trajectory. So the computing power for Bitcoin is getting more competitive, and more people joining the Bitcoin network to actually process the transactions on the Bitcoin network. So that's very good to see. What you need to notice right here, in whenever you're looking at the charts, you need to see whether, like, what is the overall trend. The trend is your friend, okay? And I know some people are using MT4 platforms to actually have leverage with Bitcoin USDT, and all they do is just trade Bitcoin to dollar and dollar to Bitcoin, and with a little bit of margin, you can have tremendous results. I've heard people doubling accounts within a month, just by using and leveraging this strategy. And you just need to have a couple of basic fundamentals when you're looking at those things, like Fibonacci's and trend lines, and looking at RSI and different indicators and volume, which we're all teaching inside our Crypto Trading Millionaires coaching, that you can get access to, and actually be trading on those trends. Now, look at the margin trading right now. In the Japanese government actually limiting Bitcoin margin trading leverage to just 2 times. Okay, and it's a big difference to trade with leverage with 2 times. Meaning, if you put $1,000, you get $2,000 in the market. Then what a lot of traders are used to, which is 25 times, 50 times, or even 125 times leverage. Now, why this is so why this is so important, guys, that you understand. First of all, leverage with one hand, it allows you to kind of create more profits with the same trends. Okay, but if you're new to this, like, there is a reason why the Japanese government limited to 2 times. 2 times is a pretty safe when you're not going to be liquidated, which means taking all of your Bitcoin out of the platform if things go wrong. Okay, but if you trade at 100 times leverage, which means you put $100 and you can trade like you're trading with $10,000. Even a slight move up and down to the wrong direction, and you're risking to lose that $100. Okay, which for some people is not a big risk, just $100, but you can do it again and again and again and lose quite significantly. When I was experimenting and trading, applying different strategies with 25 times leverage and 50 times leverage, it can be painful, and you can lose a lot of Bitcoin this way. So I do not recommend that you trade with more than 5 times leverage, 2 to 5 times. If you're doing that on platforms like ByteBee or BitMEX, you can do that. Now, I wanted to share with you this guy, Peter Schiff, and how this guy, he's a gold bug. He loves gold, and he says that gold is this safe haven that everybody should invest to over the long term, that it holds the value. And he continuously bashing Bitcoin. And in his numerous different talks, like one of the famous, if you go to YouTube and you can actually check Peter Schiff versus this other guy, I think Eric Schmidt, this epic debate between okay, this is John Madulin. There is another one, I think, with Eric. His name is Eric. Yeah, Eric Verheeb. So it's fun to watch. Actually, watch that. And Peter, like, continuously bashing Bitcoin, and He's saying things like continuing the December trend, all asset classes are rising except Bitcoin, and I think US stocks will soon drop. I think Bitcoin will fall even faster. That was the recent tweet on January 2nd, and here we go. Bitcoin is rising, and we are seeing all the way back to 2013 when he is saying that thinking of buying Bitcoin instead of precious metals, and you can see what happened over here with his predictions. Every time he said it's not a bloodbath and Bitcoin is going to go down, look at those upsides, right? So be careful about people saying Bitcoin is going down or can go to $1,000 or whatever. He just doesn't know what he's talking about because Bitcoin is a different beast. Now, I want to share with you what how Finney actually wrote in 2009, which was 11 years ago. In January 2009, he was running Bitcoin. He's actually one of the main developers for Bitcoin and big supporters for Bitcoin in the very beginning when Bitcoin was worth nothing. And he was kind of thinking what the price of Bitcoin could be. So think back 11 years ago where no one knew about Bitcoin and what it is, okay? And he was saying it's interesting that the system can be configured to only allow a certain maximum number of coins ever to be generated, which is 21 million. I guess the idea is that the amount of work needed to generate a new coin will become more difficult as time goes on. One immediate problem with any new currency is how to value it. Even ignoring the practical problem that virtually no one will accept it at first, there is still a difficulty in coming up with a reasonable argument in favor of a particular non-zero value for the coins. As an amusing thought experiment, check it out. He writes that imagine that Bitcoin is successful and becomes the dominant payment system in use throughout the world. Then the total value of the currency should be equal to the total value of all the wealth in the world. Current estimates of total worldwide household wealth that I have found range from 100 trillion to 300 trillion dollars. And with 20 million coins, that gives each coin a value of about $10 million. So he's writing that essentially Bitcoin, if it's going to become the dominant currency in the world, could be worth as much as $10 million per coin. Okay, think about that. $10 million per coin. So that's quite interesting because John McAfee is actually saying that Bitcoin can reach $1 million by the end of this year or 2021. Like he's pretty certain about that. And looking at what Bitcoin is, it may be a far cry to how it is possible that it's going to happen. But look at this. Bitcoin has been in a parabolic move. Then we came down. Then we back up, then we're a little bit down again. And we are ready to rise back again. Now, the next rise, when it comes, it's going to be, again, like boom, like a hockey stick, okay? And we'll have several of those cycles. And as Bitcoin becomes more and more popular and it becomes more and more scarce over the years, if people are going to be using that in Facebook, in Google, in Instagram, all of these platforms and the major businesses, think about the value of Bitcoin and where it can be. So I think it's a possibility, that Bitcoin will reach $1 million eventually. I don't know when it's going to happen or how many years it will take, but we are still in this experiment with Bitcoin, which is at this point, there are so many startups and so many companies supporting that, it's just going to gain more and more popularity with time. Still, we have challenges, of course, that we need to overcome with the scalability of Bitcoin to be a worldwide currency. But that's why we have the smartest developers working on it to make it happen, and nobody can stop that. No government can stop Bitcoin. But with fiat currencies, if you look at this, US warns Iraq it risks losing access to key bank account if troops told to leave. There is a central authority that is holding money, and that's big amount of money in this case for Iraq, and because of what they are doing for US recently with their strike on the base for the American people there, they can actually withhold that money from Iraq, and that's exactly what can happen to any citizen that is holding a bank account. Bank account can close its account, okay, or you can just lose access to and say, okay, there's no money in the bank. So it's a central authority, and they actually essentially control of that money. Okay, so that's very, very important that you realize that. So that's what I wanted to discuss with you today, and let's really hope that we're going to see a positive week for Bitcoin, continuing the trend and the trajectory that we are on. Keep the faith, guys, in Bitcoin. We are going to have a tremendous year, 2020. I believe it's going to be absolutely amazing year, and we are going to watch it together and make things happen together. Okay, it's been Vitaly Dubinin, and I'll see you in the next one.